As we mentioned, the Fed cutting rates, but stopping short of signaling more rates to come this year. Initially, that sent the markets tumbling, but things stabilized after that. People looking at Jay Powell thinking, OK, maybe now we get where he is. Steve Liesman is here. He's got more on that front. Hey, Steve.
Becky, good morning. Despite a divided Fed and a chairman who wouldn't promise future cuts, Wall Street economists are pretty sure more rate cuts are on the way. I want to read you some of the commentary we got after the decision by the Fed. B of A says the Fed is not done cutting rates this year. Barclays says the bar for further insurance in the form of interest rate reductions is relatively low. Over at Goldman, they said we see an 85% chance of at least one cut by year end. And finally, Oxford, they're on the outlier here. They're saying we foresee two more 25 basis point rate cuts coming in October and December to avoid an unwanted tightening of financial conditions. The bond market, though, took the Fed's rate cut decision as ultimately hawkish. The 2-year yield shot up by 10 basis points when the Fed announced the quarter-point cut. Only 7 of 17 Fed officials forecast more cuts this year. 2 actually dissented against the rate cut entirely. They wanted to hold the line. Fed Chairman Jay Powell in his press conference suggested the Fed could go either way from here.
If the economy does turn down, then a more extensive sequence of rate cuts could be appropriate. We don't see that. It's not what we expect. But we would certainly follow that path if it became appropriate. In other words, as we say in our statement, we will continue to monitor these developments closely and we'll act as appropriate to help ensure that the expansion remains on track.
So I'd say the key from here is whether the Fed feels it needs to take out more insurance. If that's the case, then rate cuts are pretty likely. If the Fed is pivoting back to data dependence, in that case, economic weakness is going to show the way towards further cuts, and strength, well, maybe not so many more then.